Hi guys, welcome back to another show. Sorry we're running a little bit late, just waiting on a couple of people, and everyone was they'll join us later on at some point in the show, I am sure. Obviously we've got Jess with us as usual. We obviously have had a couple of weeks away because there's just been various things going on. Obviously the big announcement with Snack and the Football Terrace joining together. Huge things to come in that respect. So obviously things have been changing and there's just so many exciting things. So we've got to keep an eye on that. Stay tuned for all of that because that will be absolutely amazing. How are you, Jess? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, so this should be really fun. I think when's the last time we've seen each other? It's been a minute.
Yeah,
So
it's been about 3 weeks, possibly 2 or 3 weeks. It just seems ages though because you only get one
yeah,
show a week, so it seems like absolutely ages. But obviously you've been on the terrace since then. How was that? How was that? Did you enjoy it?
I was so nervous. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? Because I was nervous the first time that I came on this show and the first
Yeah.
time I went on the Midnight Vibe show. But you know, you got every single show that I've been on has been like so much fun. It's kind of different than what I do on a normal basis. Like
It's
usually I'm
good.
like
It's
super
good.
serious content. So like this is awesome, just like having a good time and like being like super chill. So thanks for having me
Yeah.
back.
No, honestly, you're on the show every Friday, well, when you can do it. So it's fine. Obviously, I'm glad that everyone else at the terrace is starting to see it now and seeing how much knowledge you have and just you come across great, so it's absolutely fine. It makes it easy. Sorry, I've just seen a comment here. I hope Bruce FC get relegated. Thank you very much for that.
What?
Starting this starting this show on a nice note. I have another one. I hope Newcastle get relegated and Fulham stays up. Well, thank you for that, guys. I really do appreciate that. Not appreciative of the bad vibes in the air, but we'll leave that
Be
one there.
nice to Kendall, you guys. You know she's having a hard
Everyone's
time.
always horrible. I know football's killing me at the moment. But first of
Tell
all,
me
we're going to
about
get
it.
on to just a bit of transfer news, obviously, until everybody else comes in, and we can just bide the time with a couple of transfer news. So obviously, as everybody's seen the title of the video, there has been a sort of an update with transfers at Liverpool. I'm just going to pull it up to see the main thing. Liverpool are in the final stages of arranging transfer for cut price Bundesliga star. So this is obviously Ibrahima Konate, if I'm saying that correctly. I normally butcher names due to my accent, so I'm very sorry about that. But obviously Liverpool have been decimated by injuries this season, so they're looking to, up their defensive reinforcements ahead of the summer, because obviously there's probably a couple of players on going out. Sorry, one second. Can you be quiet, please? Honestly, multitasking is just a nightmare right now. But yeah, obviously they're looking to get some reinforcements ahead of the summer because there's be a couple of players on the go out. I guess Wijnaldum's been looking to go for a while. Not entirely sure if there'll be anybody else leaving, but this will obviously be a huge move for them because they were looking for around 40 million for Konate, as far as I'm aware, 40 million euros, but it looks like the deal is going to be between 32.5 and 34 million euros. I'm
Wow.
not sure what they're going to get for Wijnaldum, really. I don't know what your thoughts on that. What do you think is it his last year
He's
of his
a free
contract? So he might go for
transfer.
free. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll go for
he'll go for
free.
free. Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah,
obviously
so
that'll be
that
crazy.
I think that's a good move for them. Obviously, like they need reinforcements in the back. And I also think Liverpool needs to just freshen up the squad in general. They don't seem to have enough. I think they need younger players. I know that it's really weird to look at their squad because it's the majority of the like the starting 11 is like 29 years old. And obviously that's not like the end of your career age, for a footballer, but you need to be able to rotate these players. I know Jurgen Klopp is really big on having a small squad, sticking with the same first 11 and just kind of like using the same players over and over, but he needs reinforcements, and Konate is very comparable to Upamecano. I think they're very much so on the same playing field. I'm very shocked that they're going to get this player for less than 40 million. I don't know how it I don't know how that came about for it to be closer to 30 or
Yes,
35.
especially in
That's
this,
insane.
obviously, this transfer market right now. But I guess with the pandemic and things like that, the
Yeah.
COVID market is going to just have the reason to reduce players, because people are either going to not have the money to buy them at the price that they probably would have originally. And so yeah, I do agree. I think like it's crazy that a player of this standard is probably going to go for less than 40 million, but it's probably in Liverpool's favour, obviously, that it's going to come at a time where the market is reduced. Obviously, Christian Falk, I think he's called. He's come out and he said that basically they're in the final stages of this process. Wow. So whether or not that is, it's good. I mean, it's good for Liverpool to really, it's a high profile signing. It's something that they've needed this whole season, really. A player of that type have needed this whole season. So, we'll see if it happens. Maybe it's something that can, get Liverpool back to the way they were, because their season
Van Dijk is also going to take a while to get back from that horrific injury. Yeah. So it's like he's going to be able to just start the season. So that's really good for them. I mean, like, I know obviously nobody really loves to see Liverpool doing well. I've learned that, recently. It's like, we don't want Liverpool to do well. But from a Liverpool perspective, that's a really good signing for them. So another smart signing for them. So we'll see.
Very smart. And obviously there's been news this week as well about, obviously this will have been spoke about on the terrace prior, but if you haven't caught that yet, obviously there's been a lot of talk about Pogba possibly, leaving Man United in the summer. There is only 2 years left on his contract. So, they don't really want to run the risk of losing him next year for free. So this summer, he's been linked to Real Madrid. I've seen him being linked to Barcelona. I've seen him being linked for a move back to Juventus. It's a question of if he goes, because obviously De Gea is looking to leave this summer as well. And, Man United are another team, probably like Liverpool, who need reinforcements, and they need a little bit more quality in the squad, because they are so far behind City this year. But I don't think anybody realistically expected City to be as far ahead as they were, especially with the start that they had at the beginning of the season. Because I think at one point they were 9th, and I was like, that's wild. And then obviously it's come to fruition now that they are, how many points clear are they now? 15 or something like that, which is just absolutely crazy. So there's been players linked in the whole Pogba scenario of him going to Real Madrid. I heard obviously Varane could come the other way, Modric could come the other way, Valverde could come the other way. There's just loads and loads of like possibilities that could happen. Can you see him leaving in the summer?
Yeah, I see him leaving, but I can't really see to where.
Yeah.
I think that's the question, is like, where does Pogba really fit in? So I see him leaving, but I don't know where to. I mean, Manchester United need a center back, a CDM, and a right winger, so hopefully they can maybe bring one of those types of players. And I personally think they need to get a CDM, like a top quality one, so that Bruno and even maybe Van der Beek can start to play in that midfield and be, they don't need 2 CDMs, just one. That'll help them move forward, in whatever they're trying to do. But I mean, Pogba at this point, I think it would be good for him to move into a different direction. Yeah, he's been at Manchester United for a while, so we'll see where he goes. But, I think that's a good move for both parties. I think he's been good for Manchester United in spurts, but not to the level that they probably expected or wanted, for the amount of money that they spent on him. But he still has a long career ahead of him. So, we'll see where he goes.
Yeah, absolutely as well. And he's been mixed up in so much controversy, like at Man United, he's always been in the media and there's been so much negativity around him. I think I have said this before, but I think he probably does just need a new spurt elsewhere, because a new stint elsewhere where things maybe might not be as toxic as they have been for him. And, part of it is probably a little bit on him not being up to, as you say, to the quality that they expected. But he's been dragged in the media for just things that have absolutely no correlation. He's been dragged for dancing, he's been dragged for haircuts, he's been dragged for going to his brother's wedding. Like, honestly, just every single thing that he could have been dragged for, he has been. So he probably does just need a fresh start win. I personally believe that he can, be of world-class quality consistently if he gets the chance. But he has been, again, another player who's been ravaged by injuries. on the whole Man United situation, I feel like they're probably going to have a busy summer. As we've mentioned, De Gea, as we mentioned, Pogba. Obviously, Jesse Lingard has had a seriously successful time at West Ham up till this point. And they have said that they're probably going to let him leave for around 30 million, which in Man United's eyes, that would be amazing, because they probably thought he was somebody that was just, he was finished there really, and he hadn't had a lot of interest prior to that. But obviously in January there were a few clubs interested in him. He chose West Ham, and you know, here we are, and he's doing really well. I can see that happening, but West Ham are another club with seriously not great owners. They've had a lot of issues in the past with their owners. And again, COVID market, can you see Jesse Lingard leaving for 30 million?
It just depends on what their priority is. They also need a striker, you know, so it depends on the money. You know, they were able to sell Haller. So there's something there. They have some sort of cash there. So, I mean, if he fits in and that's where he wants to be, then hopefully they can make it happen. But, you know, as you said, they don't have the smartest owner. So, you know, they'll see what they do. But I think it's a good fit for both parties. You know, but if 30 million, I'm not sure. I mean, I think he's probably worth that, but I'm not sure if West Ham would pay that amount, if that makes sense.
That's the thing. They're not like, as we know, they're not like a club who obviously spends huge amounts of money, you know, like Pogba style money in one go. Obviously 30 million isn't Pogba style money, but you know, I have seen pigs fly, and we have spent 40 million on Joe Linton, so you know, 30 million for Jesse Lingard doesn't seem too bad really. Obviously shout out to Neeks, he's here. A lot of people in the comments as well are saying Declan Rice could go the other way. He's obviously another English player, if you will, who's had serious interest from a lot of clubs for a long time now. For several months, he's been touted to leave West Ham and go somewhere else. I know Chelsea obviously were interested. I mean, I don't know if Man United are, but that could be an idea, Lingard going the other way. But then again, that's West Ham losing probably their best player.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't see any sort of player plus cash. You know, you have to buy Declan Rice outright.
Yeah,
you know,
because he's a player that someone will pay cash for. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. And I'm trying to find Nukes' other comment where he was saying
something
that
about
Arsenal,
the goalkeeper.
Yeah, about Arsenal.
We don't need De Gea. We don't need anybody else's leftovers. I think De Gea has been a good servant for Manchester United, but usually if you're a good servant somewhere else, you come to Arsenal, you become an absolute trash, you know. So no, thank you on De Gea.
You haven't had much luck with goalkeepers of recent times, so goalkeeper transfers, so you never know. Just based on that point, obviously, you know, there's been news as well in the past. I think it was either today or yesterday that Balogun is looking for a new deal, obviously with the likes of Lacazette and Nketiah, who are coming towards the end of their contracts. I know we spoke about Balogun on this show before, actually, a couple of months ago, well, probably about a month ago now, where he was actually tipped to leave. And I asked you if he would be, you know, someone that would be a miss to leave Arsenal, if that would be a bad thing to do. What do you think now? Do you think it's a good idea? Obviously, with this whole, you know, Arteta's got a big focus on youth, and I don't know if that's his focus or whether he's just had no other other choice.
No, you're right, Kendall. It's not a focus. It's a have to save my ass type of thing. Excuse my language, but that's pretty much what it is. But you know, with Balogun, it's you don't spend almost a year trying to get somebody to sign a contract if they're not very good, you know. So I think a lot of Arsenal fans have said we haven't even really seen him play, you know. But a club of, even if you don't think Arsenal's a big club, we still technically are. You don't spend that amount of time on an 18-year-old that's never really played for the first team. You know, you tell them to kick rocks if they don't want to, you know, sign a contract. So we got it over the line, or it's supposed to be over the line soon. He's decided he wants to stay. Whether or not that's because he wasn't able to get the type of deals that he expected or not, we don't really care. He's staying. I think he could play a big role for us moving forward, because it's looking like we may not have European competition next season, which means we are on pretty much the brink of another, you know, Project Youth. we need to lean into it, as many youth players as possible to save money. And Balogun, Martinelli, Saka, these types of players are going to be really good for us moving forward. So I'm happy about it. I'm ecstatic about it. I'm glad that we don't have to talk about it anymore, but that's not to say he's going to come straight in and hit the ground running, but this does give us an opportunity to sell Lacazette or Eddie Nketiah and move forward, so I'm happy about it.
Absolutely. Obviously, just sticking with the whole Arsenal's transfer situation. There was more news this week, not sure how true this is or how much truth there is in it, that Bellerin is probably set to leave, with Hakimi from Inter coming the other way. Obviously, Hakimi's been, playing as a wing back with Inter this season. I mean, in terms of that, I know a lot of Arsenal fans are not fans of Bellerin, haven't been for a long time. They say, oh, we may as well go up and do model instead of football because that's where you're best at. I obviously don't know what you think, but would you be sad to see him go? Would Hakimi be a good replacement for you? Do you think that's possible on top of that?
Okay, so yeah, I think Bellerin gets he's very harshly criticized by the Arsenal fan base. I am not a big fan of him in terms of, he's not the type of fullback that I would choose if I had the opportunity to choose a fullback. He's not what I would like, but I think because of the things that he does outside of the pitch makes people uncomfortable. They're not used to a footballer being so interested in other things, and he is quite the hippie type, hipster type, and that's not really, that doesn't really mix with football in certain people's minds. So he has a negative kind of aura around him in terms of Arsenal fans and stuff like that. Would I be sad to see him go? Not really. I think it's time for the club and him to separate and both go into different directions. He's good for us, but since the injury, he's not as quick. And without that, he's pretty much he's not that great, So if he goes to PSG, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he'll still go to a top club because in another league, he could be really good. But in terms of Hakimi, that's not happening. If we don't have European competition, it's not happening. We're not going to have European competition. Yeah. It's not happening. We're not going to spend that. So, it's just frustrating to me that some Arsenal fans have not gripped reality. They're probably just trying to shop him around, and it's low-hanging fruit to just kind of link him with us. But I could not see Hakimi coming to the Emirates and playing no European football. He's a top right back, and I think we'll be shopping in the department store and probably not in a high-end department store. Probably not Barney's or Saks or whatever. We'll be shopping somewhere in Target, maybe, so let's just keep it real. You know what I mean?
So familiar.
Let's just keep it real. Hakimi's not coming, but yeah, if Bellerin does leave, I wish him all the best. And I still think he's a good player, just not the right one for us.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously there's been, just on the last point, hi Eleanor, by the way, everybody welcome Eleanor to this stream. On just keeping with Arsenal, just on the last point, obviously Odegaard has been strongly linked with Liverpool in the last week or so. He has been really, in my opinion, influential for you guys since he signed. I think he's been actually a really good addition. Would you have kept him if there was a chance to sign him permanently? Would that have been maybe in your mind an option or a priority in terms of Arsenal's transfer business?
Yeah, I think just like you, I think he's been really good for us. And obviously we'd like to sign him long term. He's been on our radar for a while, so it's nice to have been able to get him on a loan. I think he needs to be the priority if we can. He's going to cost us about 50 million. If we spend 50 million on him, that's going to be, I would imagine that's the majority of the budget.
Yeah,
so but it's worth it. In regards to him being linked with Liverpool, I think him and Klopp have a good relationship. I think a lot of players have a good relationship with Klopp. I think Mbappe does as well. So I think he's kind of like that good type of, he's a good man manager. Players gravitate towards him. But Odegaard also said that he needs to be in a place where he's going to develop. And I don't think Liverpool is a place where you go to develop. I think that's where you go when you're pretty much done baking. Yeah. And it's not quite there yet in terms of his development. So I think Arsenal would be a good place for him if we can convince him that this is the right place to be. So that's up to Arteta, because we're going to be talking just basically on like ideas and not really on results, because up to this point we haven't shown a lot, so it's yet to be seen. But I would like him to come and stay permanently, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be, as you say, if that was a case of Arsenal making that a priority for them, I feel like that would be a really, really good place to start. Obviously, as you say, that's probably the bulk of the transfer window done at that point. But if it is, it's a relatively decent addition. If you want to put it like that. Shout out Stroh in the comments as well. Obviously, he's here with Neeks as well, always supporting. And then just on the subject of transfers before everybody else joins us, is there anybody that I haven't really seen any news related to Spurs transfers at the moment? I feel like the club's in a situation where they probably can't even discuss that because they don't really know the future with Mourinho and things like that. So that news is probably going to come at a later date, obviously on top of Mourinho leaving or staying in your worst nightmares. If there was a player you could sign realistically, I'm going to say realistically because obviously anyone would say, Mbappe, Haaland, whatever. If there was a realistic player you could see leaving this summer and also who you would want to sign, who do you think that would be? And obviously, who would you like to sign?
I would like to sign Aarons. I feel like we need a right back and he's realistic, to go for. Obviously, we need centre-backs, but I think for me, it's really hard to pinpoint who we could realistically get with centre-backs. I think we need to pay big money. Because we need starters. We have our developing centre-backs in Rodon and Tanganga, but we need starters. So I think that for me, realistically, I think we can get Aarons, and I think it's good. It's a good target to go for because we need a right back, and Aurier and Jose haven't had the best relationship throughout the temperature, and he might not want to be here regardless of the manager now.
There's been news of him going to PSG as well with Poch, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has, which is funny because he was dropped towards the end of Poch's reign as well. So it's quite interesting. But I think realistically, he's not consistent enough. He can be good, really good in some games, and then really quite poor in others. So I would like to get a right back, a proper right back, and I think Aaron's. For me, he looks like there's no reason why he can't do it at Tottenham, especially for what I don't know. I just really like him as a player, and realistically, going is hard because anyone could be leaving. But I think Dele will go.
Okay,
I'm gonna stay away from the Kane story because I don't like.
that was gonna be my next comment. Because obviously, everyone in the comments is like, "Oh, and I think Kane's leaving. Is Kane leaving?" That's just been, the big, the burning question overhanging over Tottenham's heads. Yeah,
and I get it because he's Kane and he's brilliant, and why should he stay? And I think at the end of the day, Kane deserves to be winning everything. I think it's very, as I've said, it's very much where the club is heading. I think that's a factor in Kane's decision now. If the club is heading somewhere where we're going to be winning and consistently winning, then he'll stay. But if the club is looking like we're just going to try and win this League Cup and then we're in limbo, there's no reason for him to stay. And I feel like the reason why he stayed on the Poch even without winning is because we always looked on the cusp, or we got unlucky, or we got this, or we got that. Not that that was the reason, but it looked like that. And it looked like we were trying to build something for the future. Whereas now it kind of looks like we're in limbo. There is nowhere, as fans, I don't know where we're heading, let alone him. So I think that there's going to be a big conversation about that. And this is another thing. We've got a lot of outgoings we can sell. I can list you 7 or 8 players that we could get rid of. So hopefully we can make some money. We'll lose money on a few. I mean, the Sanchez's, obviously we spent 40 million on. Yeah. We're not going to get that.
Yeah.
But we do have Skip and Cess coming back. Hopefully. I've heard something that Jose wants to sell Cess, but I like to think, well, why do you care what Jose wants? He's not going to be here, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, maybe he will, though. Maybe that's the little side thing where they're trying to say, like, what does Jose want to do next year?
I'm like, why am I seeing Jose admires this player? I don't want to see that. But anyway, that's just me being silly. But hopefully we do get Skip back. I think Skip's great, and I think he can help us in general, because I think he's done really, really well for them. So we are going to get a few of our loan players back. We hopefully do get some transfers in. But at the end of the day, with Kane, I just think it's going to be a long old chat with Daniel Levy and knowing where we are headed as a club. future.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, welcome Charlotte as well to the stream. Beth will hopefully be with us shortly if I can speak. We're just on about transfers really, because obviously I wanted to wait till everybody was back. Oh, here's Beth.
I just heard Kane. Kane coming to Chelsea.
What do you think? Would you take him? I'm saying would you take him? Of course you would. Oh.
Do you know what? There's two issues with this. Firstly, the amount of money that's being done for Kane is a lot of money. I get that. But he's going to work better at Chelsea because he's not... I don't want Haaland, to be honest. I genuinely don't want Haaland. People are like, oh, Chelsea are going to get Haaland. I don't want Haaland. I do not want Haaland with a passion. I want Haaland to stay... I want Haaland to go to PSG or Barcelona.
Why?
Because if you look at how he's going to fit in better, Harry Kane is going to fit into our team better than Haaland is. Not sorry. I'm going to be the horrible human being that says that, but I did. As far as I'm concerned, Harry Kane fits better into our squad. We have the money. We have the money to pay for Harry Kane. We have Roman Abramovich, who owns us, who's actually spent $2 billion on a painting, just one painting this year. Like, you're all worried about money. Don't worry about money. He spent $2 billion on a painting. Let me tell you that.
Send in shot, Charlotte. She's like, Charlotte's crazy. Nope.
No, I'm not. No.
Shout
if you
out
look
Anita,
at
by
it,
the way. We need you on
Harry Kane is going to fit better into our team than Haaland is. I'm not saying, as a Chelsea, every fan wants Haaland. I'm not saying that. But if I look at it statistically and tactically and what's best for my team, Harry Kane is better than Haaland right now. And I'm not saying talent. I'm not comparing them.
Someone's clipping this up. I'm telling you now, someone's...
No. I'm not comparing them. But what I'm saying is for me, Harry Kane is better suited to our club than Haaland is. That's my point. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd take Kane within a heartbeat. He wants to stay in London. Let's keep him in London. Let's give him to Chelsea because he doesn't want Arsenal. At least Chelsea, he can win a trophy next season because he ain't going to win a trophy at Spurs. And the problem you have to look at is Harry Kane's 28 now. He's in his prime. He's in his prime. And what? If Harry Kane doesn't leave for another couple of years, he's going to be 30. I'm sorry, your point of winning a trophy is ridiculous then. Like, you're pushing the point of the teams that want you now may not want you in a couple of years. That's my point. And you've got to look at it realistically is that Harry Kane's going to win a trophy next season with Chelsea. He's not going to do that at Spurs. So you might as well leave Spurs and come to a club that can actually win you a trophy. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only trophies in Spurs' cabinet are Harry Kane's golden boot. Sorry, Eleanor. But, it's true.
Sorry, she's not sorry, really.
I'm really not sorry.
What do you think about that? Would you prefer Kane over Haaland? Or... Anita's not keen. Obviously, everyone knows Queen Anita's Chelsea fan. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I don't think that Harry Kane would consider going to Chelsea. I think he respects Tottenham way too much to come to Chelsea afterwards. I really just don't think that's even possible. I've said this before, right? I would love to have Haaland, but I kind of don't want to sign him because Chelsea don't have the best reputation with big money strikers, and I just don't want to be the club that ruins him. I don't want it. If he came and he carried on doing what he's doing, that would be amazing. I don't watch enough of Dortmund to tell you his strengths and weaknesses. I really don't. But I'd just be scared of us doing that Chelsea buy a striker that flops all over again, and I can't be arsed with it.
Yeah. Chelsea haven't had a great luck with strikers, but there has been some more names on the list lately for Chelsea, and that is Aguero and a reunion with Lukaku. Lukaku's been smashing it at Inter. Let's not lie. He's got one. I think he's either one or two below Harry Kane in the most goal contributions this year. In the top major European league, I think actually in Europe in general, he's been smashing it there. But we all know how it went at Man United. Obviously Chelsea as well. Would you have him back? Do you think that's possibly an option? Obviously, as you say, you haven't had the greatest luck with strikers lately, and obviously Werner may be coming into his own. We don't know. But would you have Lukaku back? Obviously, Charles, I'll come to you first.
No, absolute no.
What about Aguero?
No, No, I'm sorry. Do you know what? There's two reasons for this.
Okay.
Okay, I have a reason for each player. Firstly, Lukaku's still slow on the ball. Like, you can say Lukaku's goals, but he's still slow on the ball. He's great at getting the goals in over there. In
At Inter.
yeah, he's great doing it there. Like, you keep him there, but I don't look at what happened at Man United. I can't risk that happening at Chelsea. When I buy a player, I can't have what's happened to Werner this season. I need a player that's going to slot into the Premier League. So, I mean, if I was to choose between Lukaku and Aguero, I'd choose Aguero because he's adapted to the Premier League. He's been playing in the Premier League. He's more adapted to that. However, do I want him? No. For me, I think Aguero is going to go somewhere like Barcelona, Real Madrid, somewhere. But although I have heard rumours that he's happy to go back to Argentina with his family.
Yeah.
So that's also a rumour. But for me, Lukaku is too much of a risk. I'm not saying he's not done wonders this season at Inter. Yeah, cool story. But that's in Italy. The different leagues here, hon. Liga is different to Premier League. Sorry, and everyone can debate me on that, but there's different styles in those two leagues. I don't know if it's going to be a mistake for Lukaku. He's settled into Inter. He's playing well. I don't know if he just stays there and actually succeeds there. But I think the problem you have is that is it worth the risk for Lukaku?
Okay.
Because you don't know how he's going to play in the Prem. He could turn out like he's been played at Inter. Or he could turn out like he played for Man United and be the biggest flop in the world.
Oh, just like I think there's been a couple of flop shouts this season for a few players, to be fair. Beth, what do you think? Would you have Aguero or Lukaku back?
Lukaku, I don't think is really realistic for us because I don't think Chelsea's board would go back to someone that they've let go. I mean, they've done it I think they did it with Matic once before, but the whole thing with Declan Rice is saying they wouldn't want him back because they let him go in the youth. I don't, and I think he's really enjoying it in Italy. I don't see him leaving. I think we've got a bit of a problem though because I think Tammy and Giroud will both be leaving in the summer.
Okay.
I think Aguero, if he's on a free, it is in theory a great idea. But he'd be taking the sort of Giroud role of mostly sitting on the bench, coming on as a substitute, playing some European games, But we can't keep a 22-year-old fit at the moment. I'm really worried about keeping Aguero fit as well because if we're getting him, I just see him mostly sitting with Pulisic in the physio's room, getting their hands together. I don't know, but if we can keep him fit, then I think it would be a great person to have in the squad because he's just a winner. He's a presence. He's really good. It's just too late, man. We should have got him ages ago. But that's it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Obviously, he's again another one coming to the end of his career now. Especially, I feel like Premier League career, possibly not obviously the end of his full-time career and things like that. But yeah, I do agree with you in that sense. Obviously, that's pretty much most of the transfer news out of the way. That's actually gone on longer than I thought because there was quite a bit. I was going to just chat about the Champions League and Europa League, but I think I'm not going to actually do that because, Jess probably doesn't want to relive the whole draw situation. She doesn't want to.
Let's move on. Let's do something fun.
More. Eleanor and me can't speak because we don't have any involvement in any European competitions right now, and Charles and Beth are just going to be loving it because they have obviously.
Can we not just talk about Liverpool? Can we not talk about Liverpool losing? Everyone loves Liverpool
yesterday,
losing.
Charlotte. We did that yesterday.
Yeah. Just to clarify, it never gets old. It never gets old. Liverpool failing is something every single team can agree about. Kendall can agree it's enjoyable. Jess can agree it's enjoyable. Even Eleanor's probably loving life that Liverpool are failing so badly. It's not even by 1 goal, it's 3. Eleanor's like, yeah, you keep doing that, hon. I'm just saying, Eleanor's enjoying that shit.
Look, they did get played off the park by Real Madrid. I'm sure, though, if I'm not mistaken, if you guys go through, don't you play Real Madrid next?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
I was literally going to
I'm
say
just
that
about
yesterday, but I
Lambs
didn't want to. I did not
I'm
want to
gonna
say
call out Lambs
that.
here as
I was
well,
like, but
because Lambs
don't you?
Lambs said Real Madrid come outside, actually. So
I would
Lambs,
never say that.
I thought one of you guys
we-
said that Real Madrid was dead. I think it was Beth. Was it not
No.
you? Who
And no,
somebody
that
somebody on
wasn't
Twitter
me. It
said,
wasn't me
who
either.
was that?
It wasn't even me because I
No,
don't.
I
somebody
people aren't
said-
respecting. I said they're not respecting Real Madrid enough. That was me. Because
Okay,
people
somebody
like,
else said it. Somebody else
Just
said it.
to clarify something. Firstly, we are capable of beating Real Madrid. We are capable. Am I
Right.
saying no? I'm saying capable is the word I'm using. We are capable of beating them. Whether we don't or not, it's a different situation, but we are capable. We are capable of ending up in a Champions League final. Hopefully, we don't do a Spurs and bottle it this year. But we've got to pray for like all our souls. But
do you
I
genuinely think you can get to the final? Is it going to be a,
Do you know
PSG Chelsea final? City
this is
Chelsea final?
genuinely, it's written in the stars for me. Like, I'm into astrology and shit. Like, not a lot of people know this, but I am. And if you're looking at it, please tell me that it's not written in the stars that Tuchel is going to face his old team, who Pochettino claimed a trophy 3 days after getting the job. Like, he's been in there 3 days. Like, Tuchel didn't do like 99.9% of the work, and Pochettino's claiming that trophy. Like, yeah, I won a trophy. Tuchel did the work. Tuchel's gonna come at him with a vengeance, being like, "I see you, Poch," and Poch. You know what? Like,
right now, but I love him.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I really want to see. I actually really want to see a Chelsea PSG final, just on the Poch Tuchel history.
Okay. I think that would be good. I think that would be interesting, but you have got to get through Real Madrid first.
I know, but all I'm
obviously.
saying is don't underestimate us, because I
No.
see a lot of people like, oh, Chelsea aren't going to beat Real Madrid. Don't underestimate us.
We're not.
Do you feel the same? Would you like to see a PSG Chelsea final?
oh yeah, well, I'd love to Chelsea to get to the final. I'm not thinking too far ahead right now, though. I'm just focusing on next game against Porto. We're not through yet. But Real Madrid. That'll be a difficult one, I think. I think, like Charlotte said, we have potential to beat them. At this point in Champions League, anyone can sort of get through, really. I mean, we did it in 2012, and we weren't the best team in the competition that year. Like, we were in a way because we won it, but not in the football that we played. Anyone can win it, so I don't know. I'm just taking it one game at a time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't want to get myself excited and then disappoint myself. I want to low expectations and then really high take from it.
Yeah, but
I just need to hear Beth. Do you know what? If we're gonna talk about, don't get me started on Mason Money Mount. I'm fuming about that situation. How Jorginho got man of the match? How Jorginho got the man of the match? He had 3 good touches and assist. Mason Mount was absolutely dominating while he was on the pitch. Absolutely. Did you see his 260-degree pivot like a ballerina? That one touch into the back of the net.
When I put obviously the whole unpopular opinions thing out on Instagram earlier, Lambs was straight and she's like, Jorginho's finished.
Absolutely. He is finished. Jorginho, I'm ready to say goodbye to him at the end of the season.
I don't know.
Just like I am a few players. I'm sorry, Jorginho can go.
Honestly, you'd be happy for him to go.
Yeah, quite happily. Yeah. I don't even have any attachments. See you later. Bye.
A couple of times on here.
Let me just pack his bags. I'll pack his bags for him. I will pack his bags for him. I'm not even playing. Newcastle can have him. Arsenal can have him. Do you know what? Actually, if we're being realistic, I'm not being harsh here. He is better suited to somewhere like City with the way they play for tactics. Being realistic, the way City play, his tactics are going to work better. But I'm not saying he's going to go to City, but the way City play is better suited for him.
Yeah.
Charlotte's spot on with that, because he was supposed to go to City and then you guys intervened and took him from Napoli. So you're spot on with that. It's whether he's going to go to City, different story. I'm not saying that at all, but the style of play of City is where he needs to go for his next team.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure that's what we're going to see anytime soon.
I'm praying.
We're going to see
you know what? I'm praying. I'm praying.
weirder things have happened. Okay, guys, so we're going to get on to the main part of the show actually right now. Probably the most interesting part, and the part that's going to have everybody arguing in the comments, everybody kicking off because people are going to come for people's necks. This is going to be about unpopular opinions. So opinions that are not widely received in a positive light by people you know, by football fans, anything like that. I've had my head literally pretty much taken off for several opinions about that I've had in the past. I am not going to give any tonight, actually, because I'm the host and I can choose not to, get any negative.
Kindle's like, I'm playing this today. You're literally waiting. You're like throwing us to the wolves. You're like, let me just throw the rest of my panel to the wolves. I am the host. I'm going to chuck everybody else.
We have
to
to
wolves.
actually say them. I don't want to say them. I
Yeah.
want you to say them.
Okay,
Just to clarify,
I'll say yes,
I'm literally the person with the most unpopular opinions anyway. What's the difference? You might as well just throw me to the wolves now, because I'm about to annoy Liverpool fans, I'm about to annoy Arsenal fans, I'm about to annoy Man U fans, I'm about to annoy City fans. So
there was like
Charlotte do it.
I asked this question on Twitter earlier as well, and there was some literally. I am going to read a couple of, obviously, if we get time at the end. But there was some absolutely wild accusations. I'm going to say accusations because they were just so beyond opinions. I can't even call them that. Someone was like, Dennis Bergkamp was crap. He was so bad. He was overrated. There was things like I can't remember. Someone else said someone was better than Saka was better than somebody else.
Why are these Arsenal? Why are these Arsenal related? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. What's happening?
There was like Mourinho over Alex Ferguson. There was literally just some absolutely insane. Rashford over Mbappe was another absolutely
wrong.
Wild,
I don't want to do this.
Ridiculous, crazy thing.
That's a United fan all over, like that is.
Yeah, literally. That's the United fan, a really passionate one as well.
When Mbappe was playing good against Bayern Munich,
I think it was Rashford. What was I going to say? In the comments, if you want to super chat your unpopular opinions and we can discuss them too, do that. And obviously we'll shout them out. But Beth, I'm going to come to you first because I know that you've got one and you said it's going to rattle United fans. I'm going to get wrong for saying Man United fans. Because I'm going to get wrong for that. But you said you've got one that's going to rattle Man United fans. So let's hear your unpopular opinion, see how rattled they get.
Honestly. Okay, so David De Gea, yeah. It's just an average goalkeeper that's a bit dramatic, He's so he's always a bit out of position, and then he does these really dramatic saves, and everyone's like, "Oh, what a save!" Well, if you were meant to be, man, wouldn't have had to save that because it would. Oh, anyway,
that's a fact.
I kind of like
an opinion. That's not an opinion.
That's a fact. The most overrated goalkeeper.
Totally.
I love it.
If I'm honest, I really think the goalkeeping caliber in the Premier League right now is particularly poor. I feel like it's really, really of low. I feel like it's of low quality, the goalkeeping in the Premier League right now, because we used to be used to check the checks, the David. Well, I guess I'm going to say David James, but people might not think that he was that great. But I thought he was all right. Like the Siemens, things like that, and we're just not seeing that now. I feel like there's just not any high quality goalkeepers in the league because people like Alisson, who was super super high cost for particularly a goalkeeper, has just not being.
Actually, I think that the quality of defense in general has went down a lot because you're not required to defend anymore. It's just about going forward. Your fullbacks and center backs are now basically forwards that are further back.
All they do is defend.
Now your goalkeeper is an assister. You know what I mean? I think the defense in general quality is just not the same, you know? So I think that's just everything. But yeah, goalkeepers are not good. No,
I actually totally agree because I feel like, again, there's another thing, especially in the Premier League, it's really, really hard to come by a really, really high quality defender. Obviously, that's why we're seeing now Liverpool relied so much on Van Dijk last year. That their defence is now, I know they've had injuries and they've had to play like Jordan Henderson as a centre back, things like that. But their defence without Van Dijk was bad. No offence, Liverpool fans, that might be an unpopular opinion to you, but you know, it might not be to me. No, Beth, I like that one. I feel like that's actually something I can get on board with.
I think he's really overrated. And I saw United fans saying that he like has a bigger legacy than like Schmeichel. I was like, I can't.
No, absolutely.
No, I mean, I can't.
I think I'm going to watch De Gea really closely now.
Your unpopular opinion is so factually true, and I'm about to like start a volcano erupting in a minute. I'm not even playing.
When do you not know?
I can already see it.
This is my point. Like you've done a really nice one that's probably that's actually factually true. Me here. Thanks, Beth. You put me in a really uncomfortable situation there. Thank you.
I think no. I always say this. I always say David Gea is really overrated, and everyone always comes for my head. They're gonna rip it off. Like anyone I say, even a Liverpool fan. So
I feel like he had like one really, really, really good season where he was like probably one of the best. It was possibly like 2 years ago, and he was really, really good. But now he's kind of just. I feel like he's declined a lot. And in my opinion, I feel it's probably better in the Prem right now. So yeah, okay, Charles. Now you've probably got a few. So
I just want to say, under Mourinho, De Gea was really good. It was that season when he was really yeah. Then after that, it was just downhill.
Yeah, it was just downhill. Okay, Charles, I'm going to come to you. Give us some of your unpopular opinions.
Edison's a dead goalkeeper.
Edison, did you say?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So,
no. I didn't know if she said Allison or Edison. Okay, based on what?
Okay, firstly, he makes way too many mistakes. His touch on the ball is way too clumsy. The mistakes he makes are absolutely astronomical, especially this season. I'm gonna give you an example right now. Him like if he's got the ball and he's got it with his feet, he's too slow on the ball. He's too slow passing the ball, and that is where goals are made mistakes of. Unfortunately, for me, like that's especially this season. I'm not saying all seasons, but especially for this season, for me, Edison's just been absolutely.
How many clean sheets did Manchester City have this season? They have so many clean sheets. This is wild, Charlotte. This is really wild.
Since their movement of being good in January, they've had so many clean sheets. Yeah, cool story. I see that. I absolutely raise you that. But you know, we're all saying that City are unstoppable at the minute. It's unstoppable at the minute. But that was beforehand. What were we saying? Oh, City aren't going to win the league. City aren't going to do this. City aren't going to do that. But now they've had this like absolutely on point run. Everyone's forgotten how poor they were at the start of the season. So let's not.
Has been
exactly phenomenal. Yeah, no. Since this January run, they've been unstoppable.
Their offense has been better since January. Their defense hasn't been bad at all this season.
Let's talk about the fact that this season, Edison has been an absolute joke. I'm gonna, and I'm not saying
Charlotte.
He's okay. Tell me he hasn't made mistakes. Tell me he hasn't been the cost of a lot of goals.
All goalkeepers make mistakes. All goalkeepers make mistakes.
Just let me have my moment. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll let you have your moment. I'll let you have your moment.
That, like Edison's like a midfield player. Like he's not even a goalkeeper.
That youth club in Brazil that trains them to do like proper football with the ball as well, isn't it?
But I'll get on to my second one if you want.
Right. Okay. Actually, to be fair, that's been received quite well. I'm not going to lie.
I thought it was going to be so bad.
A lot of people who are like, "Yeah, I agree. I actually agree. He's average at best. The defense has, helped him out a lot." Someone just said here actually, but he gets assists, which is true. It is true.
Yeah, he's got one assist. Cool story.
Yeah, so does the West Brom goalkeeper, unfortunately.
Yes, he does. He
Yeah.
does. That's actually true.
So I guess
Oh,
he's as good as the
someone
West
here's
Brom goalkeeper.
Brought a little thing up. Arguably, Mendy is better, and I don't rate him.
Thank you for someone appreciating this. I appreciate. Do you know what? I thought this was going to get a lot of hate when I said this.
No, it's actually gone down. I thought it was going to go down like a lead balloon.
I thought it was going to go down worse.
Errors, you notice goalkeeper errors a lot more because, you know, when a goalkeeper makes an error, it always results to a goal. So you kind of feel like, oh, you know, they're making so many errors. But really, it's like if players on the pitch make errors all the time, but they don't always result into a goal. Whereas when a keeper does it, you kind of notice it more because it always results into either.
I guess as well on that point, Eleanor, like he's not tested a lot because the defense are so solid at City, so he's not tested in a sense of like Tottenham, for example. Just Tottenham, for example. I'm just going to pull it out of the bag. Obviously, Newcastle, who in my opinion our defense is severely poor. And someone just said Dubravka's better than Edison. I'm not sure about that one, but I love Dubravka and I will fight till the death for Dubravka, but I'm not going to delusionally say that he is better than.
Was better than Edson and Lloris's peak.
Yeah, I loved when Lloris was really good. I loved Lloris. Like
I enjoyed watching it. It's nothing like it's literally just the way. The problem is that you can have Lloris as your goalkeeper, but if your defense isn't like solid like a brick and your midfield isn't solid like a brick, that's where the problems cause, and that's where, because if you don't have a solid defense, your goalkeeper can't work with anything, and mistakes will be made. Like, this is my point. Man City have a solid defense, and their goalkeepers still making mistakes. That's where I have a problem with. Is that
what do you think about this comment here? Oblak, Alisson, and Neuer are the three best keepers in the world. I would not put Alisson there.
Alisson isn't. Do you know what? Just to clarify something, you want to put Alisson in there. Tell me, he's a Premier League champ. He's not. Man City are Premier League champions right now. But, you know, he was a Premier League champion and his title defence was so poor that on the first game, in the first month of games, Alisson decides to concede 7 goals to Aston Villa, which they're playing again this weekend. So 7-2 could repeat itself, you know. I'm not even playing.
I think instead of Alisson, you put Neuer in there. I really PSG keeper. Navas.
Yeah, I agree. Keylor Navas, like literally.
I think Navas is
I agree with Neuer.
I watch PSG a bit more
there'd be
now.
Like 2 or 3 goalkeepers I will put in there before Alisson. Not gonna lie, I'm very upset. I'm sorry, not I'm very upset. I'm just being very honest. So yeah, okay. Oh, someone was saying that was Adrian, not Alisson, who let 7 goals in. But still, you know, Wolves are winning as well, which is great news.
Wolves won. It's game over.
Is it finished?
It's game over. It was a 90+ third minute. Traore. But
oh my God, Traore! Isn't that like his first goal in like a year or something like that?
Yeah, he had his first assist the other day as well. So that's nice. Late to the season.
Can I give my second opinion now?
Yeah, you go, Charles. Honestly, Eleanor, I know you have to bounce, so thank you for popping on.
Bye,
everyone knows on the terrace where to find Eleanor, so
yeah, you can find me everywhere. Thank you, Kendall, and I'll be here for the whole one next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, Eleanor. Have a good week.
Bye, Eleanor.
Bye.
Thank you.
I don't know why I was saying bye like I'm on the phone there. Sorry. But yeah, go hit me with your second unpopular opinion.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is the most overrated player in the Premier League right now.
So when I was on about this, when I was literally on about unpopular opinion, I said there's one particular opinion that I hold that gets me so much hate.
Yeah,
and it was that Trent Alexander-Arnold is overrated. I don't think he's most overrated in the Prem, but I feel like this is like about 3 months ago. And
we're not playing this. I'm sorry. He is the most overrated Premier League. I'm sorry. You're telling me Trent Alexander-Arnold is the reason that Real Madrid have an assist with Trent Alexander-Arnold's. The assist name on the second goal for Real Madrid is TAA, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And you're coming at me, telling me he deserves to be in the Euros. No, ban him from the England team. And ban him from the England team immediately. Ban him. The only place that Alexander-Arnold deserves to be right now is the bench. He has, but this is why I
for
say
Liverpool
this.
even. Who would you play there instead of him?
Do you know why? Because for me, when a player makes mistakes like that, they have to go to the bench and redeem themselves. They come on as a substitute and you redeem yourselves and then you get put back in the squad. But Trent Alexander-Arnold is making these mistakes, not being held accountable for them, and actually he's getting away with them. Like, he's the reason you guys have an assist. Actually, I'm going to be horrible here. He's the reason you have a second goal, that Real Madrid got a second goal. Because let's be realistic. If Trent Alexander-Arnold hadn't passed it to the Real Madrid player, they wouldn't have got in. But your defence player just forgot that it wasn't his goal and thought he was going to pass to his player to get a goal. Wrong end. Wrong end. Your goalkeeper is in that goal. You need to be doing it the other end. So for me,
when I did ask this on Twitter, obviously, as I say, I got Trent is not a generational talent, which I absolutely agree with. I don't think he's a generational talent. He didn't do it at a high level consistently and long enough for me to be considered a generational talent.
Yeah, he played well in a team that was playing well. Like, that makes such a difference.
Yeah, someone else said Trent is not in the list of top 5 right backs in the Prem.
Yeah.
5th, maybe. That may be rude. What do you think about? Do you agree with that, Jess, or are you like, no, that's absolutely ridiculous?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's a good player. I do. I think he's a good player. Maybe he's not as, sensational as people were making him out to seem. I think Liverpool voices were really loud when they were playing really well, so they kind of took over the conversation. And a lot of their players were regarded as the best players in the world, but they're not. They're just playing well, as Beth said. So, yeah, I think he's probably top 5 in the Premier League, but definitely not the best thing I've ever seen. But he's having a really bad season, and he had a really bad game against Real Madrid. So
yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with this comment here. Trent has been exposed since Liverpool have been vulnerable in defence this season. I do actually agree with that because, as you just said, Jess, they were playing really, really well last year. They obviously had all of their players fit. All of their players were performing at a consistently high level. Hence why, obviously, they won the Champions League, the league the year before, and then obviously the Premier League. So I completely agree that. And now that he's been left to do a lot of work, I feel like it's exposed his weaknesses quite a lot.
But if we're gonna address Trent Alexander-Arnold, shouldn't we be then? I'm going to be really controversial. I'm really sorry, Kendall. If we're going to address Trent Alexander-Arnold, then my next controversial comment is that Klopp's a fraud. And do you want to know? And do you know why? I have a really valid point for this. I actually do this time.
Okay. Yeah.
Firstly, when you get found out, you switch up your formation. You switch up your style of play. Let's be realistic. That actually, Liverpool won the Premier League last season. They won the Champions Leagues a couple of seasons ago. They are capable of winning, but the fact is that they're not actually switching up the formation. You have players that should be capable of actually switching up formation, being able to switch up your style of play. And people can blame on injuries. Just to clarify, you lost 7-2 with Virgil van Dijk and all your injuries still intact. So don't come at me with this kind of, we've got injuries, because you didn't. Klopp's been found out and hasn't switched anything up. You have to switch something up. If you get found out and you don't switch up, even change like a couple of positions, do something, change something, and he's not. And he's continuing to keep the same style, the same formation, and he's not doing anything different. And that is why Klopp's a fraud. Not on the fact that
not because he can't, or is it because he can't, or because he doesn't want to?
He doesn't want to. He's stuck in his old ways of, this has been Klopp's way of play. If you look at his previous, it's been his style of play. And look at what happened at Dortmund. So that's all I've got to say is look at what happened at Dortmund. Look at what's happened to Liverpool.
He plays a system that exhausts the players, and they are exhausted.
Because he's relied on Salah and Mane for so long that,
and you can see.
I think someone had a stat the other day, and it was like, I can't actually remember who it was like towards. I can't remember which team it was about, but like Salah and Mane have played like in excess of like 100. I can't actually physically remember because I'm not even going to say it, but it's like, I feel like it was over 140 games they've played it like over a consistent amount of time in such a long period of time, which is insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. But they've got nobody else to rely on, and I feel like Liverpool's squad depth for the top six, the big six, if you will, I feel like their squad depth, apart from possibly Tottenham, I feel like their squad depth is really, really one of the most poor out of the lot.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen, they just don't have the backups for their main squad players. They don't have good enough backups for them. Obviously, I mean, there's players like Curtis Jones who's massively stepped up in the past year, I would say. People like that. I can't really even give you anybody else. I know obviously they lost Joe Gomez, they lost Van Dijk, they lost Fabinho for a time. Henderson was out for a time. Like, I know that they have lost players, but they are not the only ones. Like, Leicester have had serious injury problems. I'm trying to think of the top, the top teams.
We had
Leicester
had
serious
wingers
injury
out at
problems.
one point. We didn't have any wingers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're not the only ones. I just guess it's just gone across the board. Unfortunately. And yeah, someone else again, Alan's coming with the heat today. He's saying, I have to 100% agree with this comment. Teams have worked Liverpool out and teams know to sit it with the low block and counter over the top, as Klopp with all the injuries hasn't adjusted tactics. I've never really thought about it, but that's probably right. It's probably correct.
The only thing
someone else said Matip there. Go on.
The only thing I wanted just to add to that is that old managers like Pep and Klopp, that's just how they are. Like, even Mourinho, that generation of managers, they don't change. Like, they have very difficult times changing. Whereas new managers like Nagelsmann, they make their tactics to be really flexible. So I just think it's a generational thing. You're going to see those managers, or even Arsene was like that as well, very stubborn, stuck in their ways. So, I don't think he's necessarily a fraud. I just think that he's a part of a generation of managers that play their way until they get sacked, or they leave the club and move on and implement it somewhere else, but new managers they're way more flexible, So
I'm just going to read out a couple of the last few. This is kind of relating to, Jess, I know you said you don't want to say yours, you don't want the smoke. That's totally fine. But this is kind of relating to one that you did mention to me. Someone said here that Harry Kane is actually one of the most overrated players right now. I know that's not specifically what you said, but it kind of relates to what you did say. And obviously someone's here saying that he's top on pretty much all stats just about this season. Now, on the whole Kane situation, I don't think he's overrated at all. I used to think he was overrated, actually. I must admit, I used to think he was overrated. But right now, I don't think he's overrated. However, when people do this Harry Kane is better than Lewandowski thing, I can't. I can't do it. I really can't do it. I don't truly believe that Kane is better than Lewandowski, in my opinion, at all. Whether or not he can be, I also feel like Lewandowski is actually he's not respected enough as he should be, especially after all the things he's achieved in his career, especially lately. Obviously, they won the quadruple with Bayern. And his goal tally, obviously, in Europe this year is huge. Absolutely huge. I mean, in the whole of Europe. I just see someone else just said Kane is better than Lewandowski. No, he's not. Please.
He's not. He's really not.
Just, I don't want these shouts. I'm sure... I'm going to call you out because I don't know if it actually was you, but somebody that is very there he is. Somebody that was on the terrace said, "Oh no, I think Prime said that he would rather have Kane than Haaland at Chelsea." But actually, Charles said that as well. Yeah, that is. I don't know if actually he did say that Kane was better than Lewandowski, but he possibly did, because you know what he's like. He has the most wild opinions. But that's why we love you, Prime. That's why we love you. I'm going to read a couple more because some of them is just Hazard's time in the Prem was incredibly overrated.
Well, that is untrue. You know what Hazard had to do? Hazard had to carry a lump of shit from season to season and make them look good and make them win games.
Do you think his peak was at Chelsea? Do you think he can ever reciprocate that because of his injuries and things now?
No, I think that is done him bad. I think it's a real shame as well, because I feel like we didn't give him enough. When he was with us, we could have built the team around it and made something really amazing. But and he's got his dream move in the end, and now it's just, I feel so bad for him. Like, he's waited all that time, go to Real Madrid, and now he's just injury plagued. I don't think it's going to be the same.
This one you're not going to be happy with. Jorginho is a better DM than Kante. I mean, is that unpopular, or is that just literally so wild that nobody would ever...
It's
I think
fishing.
statistically he is right now. Like, statistically he's a better midfielder. But if the key word is DM, then we know that that's not true. But as a midfielder, he's statistically better than Kante. But we all know that that's
they
DM,
do
no.
though, don't they? Because I think like Kante's like the best, sort of one of the best midfielders in the Premier League for the last, I don't know how long he's even been, like, let's say like through the last decade. I don't even know how old he is anymore. He just turned 30, didn't he? So it's not that long. But he's been consistently one of the most like consistent like midfielders in the Premier League. So I'm not big on like slandering Jorginho. I think he's got his good aspects. I think he gets a lot of slack because the fans just don't like him, and they will build on that. And I think they look for things to pick on with him. West Brom game, I'm not going to talk about because he was absolutely terrible. Like, honestly, the worst performance ever, like all season, awful. But no. Kante, you can't really compare.
I don't think so.
Kante's like our best midfielder, hands down. It's clear. There's like nothing.
The key word there is DM. Like, CM, statistically, you can give Jorginho something. They play in the same spot, but they don't do the same job. Like, you know, that's actually disrespectful to Kante. I don't like that at all.
Okay, this one here actually involves all of you. It doesn't involve me at all, but it involves all of you. Someone said Chelsea 04-05 had the greatest Prem season in history. Yes, that is over the Invincibles.
Repeat that.
Chelsea 04/05 was the greatest Prem season in history. Yes, that is over the Invincibles.
Yes, I think they were better than the Invincibles, because the Invincibles drew their way to being invincible, didn't they? We had more wins. We conceded what was something stupid. Do you know how many goals it was we conceded, Charlotte? It was like 11 all season or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it was literally just over double figures. We were literally nearly under double figures. I think we went over by like 2 or 3. So I think it was like 11 or 12.
Yeah. I didn't really watch a lot of the football at that time, but I've seen we got like the season review DVDs and stuff. I was really young, but I do know like how they played. I do think Arsenal had a really great team, but they did draw a lot of games. Now we only lost 1 game, so we were really close to sort of beating that. But the team that he built was just really amazing, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say best Prem team ever, though. I feel like a Man United
Jess is like waiting. She's just waiting for the time.
You know, everybody's entitled to their own, you know, and you're partial to your own team. You know, when you're watching your own team, you really feel differently. But I think we played some of the best football I've ever seen in my lifetime. You know, I think and Chelsea teams, they do. Yeah. I mean, I just think we did things in style, and we may not have won every single game. We may have drew it, but we played such good football that it really didn't matter. And what we've done is not really something that anybody else has been able to achieve. But I think if we're all honest, probably the best team or the best winning season is the United 99 team, you know, better than the Chelsea team, better than the Arsenal team, you know, because of what they achieved. If you care about trophies and you care about that kind of stuff, but we're all going to be more partial to our own team. So I can't even blame them for thinking that Chelsea had a better season based on points and all that kind of stuff. But I love my invincible team, so I'm obviously going to say
I think that comment is quite that particular opinion there is quite subjective, because as you say, you're going to obviously feel like the Invincibles is a better season, and you guys are obviously going to, you know, go with Chelsea because that's who you support. Like,
but I think it's one of those ones that starts a discussion. It's one of those ones that it's a discussion starter that you can actually. And it's great because it's one of those conversations where you can talk about 3 great invincible teams and actually discuss the greatness of all of them, because
it's not whether I like wild to compare them.
Whether I like Arsenal, whether I like Man United, their invincible teams were both incredible. You can't take that away. And, you know, when you start discussing it and you look at the players and you're like, damn, I could reminisce all day. Like, where's Drogba again? I'm missing Drogba. Can we get Drogba back? We only paid like 18 mil. We sold him for like shitloads of money. So can I get Drogba back? Like, you know, there's just things like that where you like look at the players you had and you're like, damn, I had it good back then. I really had it good. Ivanovic as well, man. Oh,
Ivanovic was one of the best. Was probably for a period one of the best right back in his
he prime. Was, apart from Dennis Wise was my first shirt, my first name on the back of my shirt, and then it went to Ivanovic. Ivanovic was my second shirt name. The man, do you know what? Everyone went for Drogba. Well, I just wanted Ivanovic.
He's one of my favourite players.
No, Drogba's amazing, but for me, everyone went for Drogba, but I'm always like that different human being that's like, nah, I like Ivanovic. I'm just going to go for Ivanovic. I was like, the man needs to make Chelsea some money. Let's go for Ivanovic. No, for me, Ivanovic was talented. Drogba as well. Like, you had Essien, like, you had Lampard, you had Terry, you had Ashley Cole, like, all these people, like,
I love Michael Essien. I think he was one of my favorite players, even though he wasn't an Arsenal player. And I think he's very underrated. Like, and Chelsea's have really good players over the years, but I actually just miss the days of like Sir Alex Ferguson and Wenger and Jose Mourinho when he first came. Like, those were the best days. Like, actual rivalries. Like, it was actually more fun.
Games as well. Like, back then,
there's no like rivalry now. Like, in my opinion,
not really. Can we talk about Thierry Henry as well? Thierry Henry,
incredible.
Oh, do you know what? I've never been jealous of an Arsenal player until Thierry Henry came to your house, and absolutely, I was like, "Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. We're Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea here." Like, he was absolutely incredible to watch. Talented. On the ball to watch. Like, he was absolutely incredible. Like, and then you had Ronaldo at Man United. Like, dude, like, it was blissful. You know what?
There's been some great players. Oh no, I'm sorry, but I've seen literally the worst.
Like, I see Salah over Henry. This is what I'm saying. Like, Liverpool fans start coming out of nowhere with like weird comments. Like,
I'm just sorry, but this
guy, statistically, right, in 150 games, Salah has more goals in 150 games.
But see, here's the thing about it though. Like, people forget that
overall,
it's not just about, it's about the style, like the way that they do it. 100%. Like, players are more clinical now. Like, first of all, the defenses aren't as good as they used to be. And players are more clinical now. But back then, it's like, if you were special because of the way you did things, not just because of the numbers. You know, so there's certain players, like even Ronaldinho, he didn't win much in his career. Like, he really didn't, you know, but he's special because of the way he did things. You know, even original Ronaldo. So, like, true, like, football, like, purists, like, you get it. You can put Salah over Henry because of numbers, but if, like, do we really want to watch Salah play? Do we really?
No, just to clarify,
it means nothing.
Just to clarify, the guy that actually posted this comment has been coming for me in the comments since like day one. Let me just tell you, you blatantly don't know football, because fact is, if you knew how beautiful Henry played, do I want to watch Salah? No. Do I want to watch Henry? Absolutely. I still want to watch Henry to this day. I don't want to watch Salah. You can give me all the stats you want, but Henry is going to be a better player for me than Salah. I don't want to watch Salah. You take Salah, cool story. You're a Liverpool fan. You're angry. You're disgusted. You're annoyed with your team. Like, you're a Liverpool fan that's angry because your team is losing to Real Madrid. Don't come at me because your defense is giving assists to another team. Until then,
she's just coming with the smoke.
Have a good night.
I know a couple of people are saying, have you missed the Konate news? No, you have not. Well, if you joined us late, because me and Jess, obviously, we discussed it right at the beginning. We had quite a lengthy chat about it. But if you did miss that, just go back on the Football Terrace YouTube and just rewatch the video back, and it is at the beginning of that. Okay, I know Winksy's been in the comments and he said read a couple out of Twitter. I have read a couple out, but I will read yours because I know you have been asking, and we will end on this one. this is Arsenal related. Well, it's Arsenal Man United related, really. So we'll get obviously your opinions on it, Jess. Saka is crazily overrated. To compare this season to Greenwood's breakthrough season is delusional.
Okay. That's your opinion. I mean, if you like Greenwood more than Saka, then you like Greenwood more than Saka. Like, we're always trying to figure out who's better than who.
I think he's a bit delusional. I think that's a bit delusional, to be honest. For me,
why are we always trying to pick which one is better? Why can't they just all be good?
No, but this is my point. Why I think they're delusional, because they're both shining young stars. They're both coming into their own. Why do we have to compete? This is why I'm calling them delusional. Why do we have to compete them against each other? I don't need to compete them against each other. Let them grow into themselves. They're what,
fans
like,
love to do that, though.
They're 19 and 18. Like,
it's just boring.
This is not okay. Like, give them a chance. Give them a chance to grow into themselves. Because the more you compete them about themselves, the more it is harder for them. Like, just give them a chance.
I don't get it.
Agree. And I don't think, regardless, I don't even think you can deny the influence that Saka has had on Arsenal anyway. Like, you can't even deny that and say he's overrated, because he isn't, because the influence he's had on Arsenal and what he's offered them as a team who were going through a rebuilding process is second to none.
Yeah, I think you have to consider that, because overall Man United are a better team than Arsenal, and they are doing better than Arsenal. So what Saka's achieving in the team that he's in the way that they're playing, it means a little bit more. And that's not to actually shit on Greenwood, but for him to be shining as much as he is and doing as much as he is for Arsenal, I think that's really impressive with the state of the club at the moment.
No, completely agree. He's like defending himself here. He says, I like Saka and Greenwood, wonderful players, just stating that Arsenal fans saying Saka is the next Ronaldo.
If they are, I don't know them. I've never said anything like that before.
I don't know that man.
I've never seen anybody.
Jess is a normal Arsenal fan. She is realistic. She is honest, and she says it as it is. You have Arsenal fans that still think they're in 10th place and are still getting annoyed because they're losing to Slavia Prague. Sorry, what did you expect? Leicester lost to them and they're in 3rd place. No, I'm being realistic here. I'm genuinely not being horrible. I'm being realistic. You see people like Ty, you see people like DT, you see people like Troops having these hissy fits and actually being dramatic. Like, why do you expect anything different? I'm sorry. Like, I'm not delusional, but your team is in 10th place and Leicester, who are in 3rd place, actually lost to them. So why are you surprised? Like, I'm not being horrible.
I think sometimes as well, like, unfortunately, just with the way things are and the way that football, like Twitter and social media has become a thing, I feel like sometimes a lot of people think that these, like, influencer football people speak for the whole fan base, which is untrue.
I've never seen Saka is Ronaldo. He's clearly not. Like, and all these players are good. Foden's good. Mount is good. Greenwood is good. Let's see who grows and matures and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I think Saka is something he's not. He's been really good for us. So just leave us alone.
100%. 100%. People think you're not allowed to. I normally just get called out. Everyone's like, why isn't your Newcastle fan speaking about Man United? I'm like, well, because I watch football. I can't just speak on my own club. I see things that happen at other clubs too. Everyone's allowed an opinion, guys. It's just a bit of fun. Don't get aerated. You're all right. You're fine. But we're going to end it there before it actually starts getting out of hand in the comments.
It already is.
Yeah, it already is. Well, I know I let it go on a little bit too long. To be fair, it wasn't too bad. I didn't see any, wild opinions from you guys, which is actually, I'm really impressed, because apart from, Charles, a little bit, Klopp is a fraud shouts. That was a bit, that was the show peaked at that point. But thank you everybody for tuning in again. Obviously I know we will be back next week. We have been missing for a few weeks, but hopefully we'll be back onto a regular time slot, obviously with all the schedule changes and things. So please join us again next week. Thank you everybody for the likes and tuning in. Obviously all of the regulars that always tune in, really, really grateful all the time for your interaction, your comments. But girls, I'm going to come to you guys now. Tell everybody where they can find you and obviously what shows you guys do and just wherever anybody wants to check you out. Beth, I'll come to you first.
Oh, right, lovely, thank you. I'm on Twitter at IFC and on Instagram at _BethDXC. And I do the Chelsea Ladies Show on GNA TV at 8 p.m. on Fridays, which is why we're a little bit late today, because Charlotte was getting an argument with the Spurs fans about Harry Kane, which was great. And I think that you would all love to go and see that. So go and watch that video on GNA TV. And sometimes I'm on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Charles, you as well?
You can find me at Charl_Strong on Twitter and Instagram, and find me on Strong TV, my YouTube channel. Beth will be on there tomorrow night for the Wine and Football show because she is a panelist now. Jess is going to be on there too. Kendall's been on the Wine and Football before. Yes. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Kendall on again soon because she was fabulous. But yeah, check it out. We're doing 2 nights of WrestleMania watch-alongs as well on Saturday and Sunday, where Latimus Prime, who you all know from the Terrace, will be on there too, bantering Slens. So enjoy that.
Absolutely. Oh, Prime's he's amazing, man. He just gets
he literally just to clarify, WrestleMania is going to be so dead, and Prime and Slens, I'm expecting big things from you. They're like, we got this. I was like, cool story.
Yeah, if you want to check out obviously Char's channel as well, she has loads of non-football and content on there. So if you're interested in Marvel, DC, wrestling, everything like that, there's always stuff going on Char's channel. So go and check that out. And finally, Jess, where can everybody find you, please?
Yeah, you guys can find me at It's Jessinho on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm more of a Twitter person. Instagram is a hassle, but I'm trying to be on there a little bit more. So you can find me there. And then She Knows Arsenal on YouTube is my show. I have shows pretty much Monday through Friday. I try to be on as much as possible. So check me out there and subscribe to the channel. And yeah. Yay.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, all the girls are doing amazing things. Like literally, shout out the ladies, man. So many good things going on right now in this industry. It's amazing to see. But if you want to check me out, obviously Kendall Rowan on all socials, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. Obviously you'll find me here Fridays at 9 p.m. with these lovely ladies, and also Wednesdays and Sundays on Midnight Vibes as well. But big things to come from the Terrace, so please make sure you're watching, liking, subscribing, sharing all the videos out. Thank you everybody again. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.